Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another goals video. It is a new quarter for me. I know I've talked about this a number of times, but over the past couple of years, I have been setting quarterly goals where I pick a smaller focus of my annual goals to focus on just for a quarter. And this year, I decided to make my quarters a little bit different than the normal calendar year quarters. So I cut Q1 a little bit short, and Q2 was also ended up being a little bit short, and then Q3 for me was like the summer months, so June, July, and August. And now I'm entering my Q4 goals for September, October, and November. So this video is going to be a wrap up on my August goals, how they went and which ones I totally gave up on. And then my Q3 goals and how those went overall, my summer goals, how I feel about them. The next video that's coming in a couple of days will be all about my Q4 goals and then my September action steps. So let's start with my August action steps. Now, when I filmed my August goals video, I felt like I was lying to you a little bit. I was deep in my first trimester of pregnancy and feeling absolutely terrible. So like I do not have pleasant pregnancies. I do not, at least in the first trimester, I do not feel good. I'm very nauseous. I get sick. It's not fun. And I knew I like really didn't want to do goals for August. And so I kept things very simple and I talked about all the other things I had going on in August, which were all very true and very accurate. But layering pregnancy on top of that, I knew it was going to be really tough for me to focus on goals, but we weren't quite ready to share publicly yet about the pregnancy. So kind of just covered it up. I don't remember what I did with my first baby and like how I talked about goals then, because I definitely struggled then too. But of course now I'm struggling with pregnancy and caring for a toddler. But anyways, I really didn't want to do goals for August. Like that's just the truth. Now, that said, I am very glad that I did the one-time steps because most of these one-time steps, which I'll talk about all of them specifically with the exception of one, I did need to do. Like it needed to get done. So it was good that I put it on here. Now, the daily steps, that's a whole different story. So let's start with the one-time steps. The first one was to do one house project. And this was kind of above and beyond. I can skip a month of house projects, right? I like being pregnant is a project in and of itself. And the good news is that we got almost a major house project done. The patio not only got started, but they're making really good progress. The day I'm filming this video, I always want to tell you this at the beginning and then usually comes up at some point randomly, is August 19th. Now, I get that that is early. Like there is still almost 2 full weeks left of August from the day that I'm filming this video. But I am going to be out of town all of next week. So in reality, my August only has a couple of days left. Even though I'm filming it early in like the calendar of August, for my August goals, it's actually kind of reasonable. So anyway, as of the filming of this video, they've made really good progress. It's very possible that they finish it by the end of August, which would be really awesome. So even though I personally didn't make any progress on house projects this month, house projects happened this month. We also had an unexpected house project and expense with it that did not, just home ownership. We love it. We're so thankful for our house. We're so thankful, but man, there are some times I really miss renting. Now, the next 3 one-time steps were all related to our travel goals. And this was like a bonus quarterly goal that I set that actually didn't have anything to do with my overarching annual goals, but I knew it was something that I wanted to prioritize. So I added it to my goals, which is totally fine. Like you do not need to, the goals that you picked in December are great and guidelines for your year. But if something comes up or something that you want to prioritize, especially if you're like me and you are so much more accountable to your goal planner than like your regular to-do list, add that goal in there. So one was to plan our Disney trip, and that is the trip that we're leaving for in about 5 days. I feel really good about the progress that I've made. We have tickets, we have flights, we have hotels, we have clothes. I'm waiting for one more shirt for me, and if it doesn't get here, it doesn't get here. Like life will go on. And then I haven't mapped, there's one park day that I haven't and when I say map out, what I'm doing for the parks is making like our hit list of like, what are our top 3? Like, what are the top 3 things? If we only get these 3 things, I don't know where I heard this advice. I've been listening to a lot of Disney podcasts and YouTube channels, so the advice could have come from a number of places. But going with a toddler, especially because we're doing some half days, one of the perks of going with a conference is that we get half day tickets. And so some of our park days are half days and some are full days. For the half days, for sure, I have like our top 3. These are the top 3. And then other things that if we can get to them, they would be great. And then I have those listed in order of priority. And so I've done 3 of the 4 parks. So that's why this isn't fully checked off, is that I have one park left to finalize what we want to get to, it's Magic Kingdom. For those of you that are Disney nerds like me, it is for my toddler. There's so many more choices than the other parks that I'm like overwhelmed by like setting it up. So anyway, but that needed to happen, right? Regardless of how I was feeling in August. So I'm glad that this was on my goal sheet and it's almost done. Planning Lila's birthday party, also something that needed to happen. That was done. And then New York City flights, I have not officially clicked buy yet because there was a little bit of back and forth when I talked about this goal step. I think I mentioned that I was planning to go by myself. Then there was a period of time where maybe Sam and Lila were going to come with me. I think now we have finally ended up back on I'm going by myself. So now that I've decided on that and what days I'm going, I need to get those flights scheduled and booked. But I am planning to get to obviously both the Disney and the New York City flight before we leave. So both of those things will get checked off before August actually ends. All right, let's talk about the daily steps. So I think when I filmed that August goals video, I was still a little bit optimistic that I was gonna track these. And I was still gonna have something to talk about when I felt like, I don't think, like even though I did feel a little bit like I was lying because I didn't talk about the pregnancy and that being the real reason that I kept August so simple, or not the real reason, but a big reason why I kept August so simple. I think I was still thinking that I could handle these daily steps and that I was still gonna work on them. This is not totally related, but from my 8-week appointment to my 12-week appointment, I actually lost weight because again, I've been so sick and I have been way more active. I don't think I've been more sick this pregnancy, but I've been definitely way more active, partially because I just have a toddler and I have a house with stairs and I walk to and from daycare to pick her up multiple times a week. So I was gonna count that as working out. And I did, I checked it off one time. But then after a couple of days, I think I just had like one really rough day and I was like, forget it. I'm giving up and tracking all of my daily habits and workout just got lumped into that. Did I take some walks in there because I walked to and from daycare? Absolutely. Like unless it's absolutely pouring out, my mom will then sometimes come help us because she has a car and we don't. And so she will come get Lila or pick her up and bring her to us if it's pouring. But as if it's not doing that, and sometimes in the winter she would do that too when it was absolutely freezing. But otherwise, like we can bundle up, we can use an umbrella, like all the things. So I definitely did do some of those walks, but I didn't check them off. Now, reading before bed, that's not the same case. I definitely did not do any of that. I just gave up on that. Part of it, if you listen to the live podcast episode I did with my sister, which was so much fun, by the way. It's just a fun episode if you like want to dip your toe into our podcast. But I talked about not being super into the book that I was reading. And so I think that didn't help. And so now here we are. And I'm not even going to pretend that I stopped tracking this goal. Like I just literally didn't do it. And it is what it is. Okay, I'm growing a human. If I want to binge watch a TV show I've seen 100 times before bed, that's what I'm going to do. And then A and teeth and P and teeth. I have been doing this sometimes. Brushing my teeth is not the most enjoyable experience when you are nausea in your first trimester, but this one is like the workout one. This is lack of tracking, not lack of doing. Did I do it more than I did in July? Probably not, although July wasn't good either. My nausea basically kicked off July 4th weekend, so I was nauseous all of July and now all of August, pretty much. So I don't know if it was better or worse than July, but it, more than 0, probably not great. All in all, were my goals for August great? No, they weren't. But you know what I did do in August? I grew some eyeballs. I grew a stomach. You know what I mean? Like I have to remember that this is a blink. In the grand scheme of things, 1 month is such a small amount of time, and it is what it is. And I'm very excited to turn the page for September. And hopefully, it comes with feeling a little bit better. Now, let's quickly go through all of my Q3 goals and how I feel like each of them went. When I set these Q3 goals, I obviously knew that being pregnant was a possibility, okay? We were trying, but I didn't necessarily know when it was gonna happen, and I didn't know how I was gonna feel. Was I gonna feel as bad as I did with Lila? When was that gonna kick in, right? I had no idea what that timing was gonna look like, so I had to just do my best. And so that, some of it's gonna feel better than others, and it is what it is. So the first one was to make progress on house projects. I feel really good about this one. Do we still have a lot of projects we want to do? Yeah, absolutely. But we had our housewarming party. We started on the patio, and we have definitely done some other little things. I've had things hung, all kinds of stuff. Like when I think back, especially in June, I made a lot of progress on this goal. Kind of trickled off in July and August, but definitely feeling good about that one. And now you'll see in my Q4, I actually had to cut back. I wanted to have 700 house projects in Q4. That's like, I feel like my nesting bug has already clicked. Things I want to do before the baby gets here. But now that we know the baby's coming in the timeline, there are some other house projects that we can absolutely make progress on, and I'm excited about that. The next Q3 goal was to make travel plans. That one feels like we did it. I mean, we made all of our plans for Disney and are about to execute on them. Not anywhere that showed up on my goals, but I also booked flights for Dallas. I go to Dallas every year with my dad to go to the Texas-Oklahoma game. I will be 20 weeks pregnant, so hopefully it's not too hot of a football game this year. It is the 2:30 time slot, which I always complain because if you know football, the Texas-Oklahoma game is a huge rivalry, and they play every year in Dallas on a neutral field, and it's literally split down the middle. Half of the stadium is orange and half of it is red. And it's so fun, okay? It's so fun. And so many years, it gets the 11 o'clock Central time slot. And you're like, why? Why is it getting this time slot? And it's the state fair is outside of it. And so it's always like we're setting an alarm to get up early. My dad and I, we stay at a hotel a little bit outside the city and take the train in, which is always so fun to like be on the train with all the fans, but it's like early, right? And so we always like, we want it to be the 2:30 game. But actually, I feel like it would be really fun for it to be a night game. But I guess then people would do too much of the fair before the game. 2:30 makes the most sense, right? It makes the most sense. But it's also peak heat. So hopefully it's not going to be too hot, because that's going to be a rough Texas OU if it's really hot. But I also booked those flights. So definitely glad that I added this to my goals to prioritize for our fall plans. Oh, and I booked our Thanksgiving flights too. So done, good. And that's it, I think, in terms of travel before baby gets here. The next Q3 goal was to use my coloring books. I think I colored like twice, 3 times maybe. So maybe we'll give this like a 2 out of 10. Not great, but also wasn't expecting to feel the way that I feel. All right, the next quarterly goal was to appreciate the summertime. And I do feel like we did a decent job of this, even though I wasn't feeling great. Like, I do feel like we still got outside, we went swimming, we got on the boat before I was nauseous and couldn't get on the boat anymore. Somebody told me that's when they knew I was pregnant. They said, you stopped posting about the boat. And I felt like that was a sign that you were pregnant. Hi, Charlie. I didn't know you were in here. She was on the bed and she just hopped off and joined me. Hi. Now, could we have done a better job of this? Absolutely. Especially with like the patio situation. I feel like if that had been done earlier, we would have been able to enjoy it more. Do I think we'll be able to enjoy summertime a little bit more next summer, even with a small peanut in tow? Yes, absolutely. But I mean, maybe like a 5 or 6 out of 10. And then the last one was my physical health goal, and that was getting back to the basics. I said again, because that was my Q1 goal, and like I felt like I did a good job, and then I kind of accelerated in Q2 and then kind of fell off towards the end. I don't really feel like I did a good job of this, because basics for me this quarter, maybe in June, like I feel like I should have grabbed my June goal sheet, because I feel like that was really reminiscent of like my life before I started feeling terrible. And I can't really remember what June looked like in terms of, getting back to the basics of like working out and drinking water and eating vegetables and all those things. But now the last couple of months, it's been just kind of like survival mode over here. And so I'm not really worrying about the basics. So this one probably doesn't get a great score, but I don't feel bad about it at all. I mean, I don't feel bad about any of them. Like, again, just like I said when I was talking about August, like I set these goals August goal I set with knowing, but Q3 I set without knowing. And so any progress that I've made is progress, and I'm proud of that. So that is going to be it for this video and this check-in. I am glad that I can finally talk about my goals with being able to talk about pregnancy at the same time, because it definitely impacts my goals, and I'm hopefully entering in a season of feeling a little bit better, and so I can make a little bit more progress on my goals. I actually have, spoiler alert, 6 goals for Q4, but they're a little bit more specific than they were in Q2. So if you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment below with a plane, because I feel like the travel plans was the goal that I made the most progress on this quarter. And if you wouldn't want to share, I would love to hear down in the comments one thing you made progress on in the month of August that you are super proud of, so we can celebrate together. If you like this video, if you like these goals videos, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. Huge, let me say that again.